When General Hospital broke up Sunny and Carly so that he could pursue a future with Nina, viewers found themselves taking sides. On the one hand were those ready for the something new represented by Sunny and Nina, or Sona as they're called. On the other were those who warned that ultimately Carly and Sunny, or CarSon, would reunite. There were a whole lot of predictions about how things would play out, but we're betting few people had Nina destroys her own happiness on their bingo cards, and based on what just went down, it seems like that's exactly how things are going to play out. Because in turning Carly and Drew over to the Securities and Exchange Committee, Nina essentially pushed a self-destruct button. Unfortunately, the blonde didn't even really seem to realize what she'd done, at least not until Ava pointed it out to her last week. The irony was that Ava has long been #Team Sona, thanks in large part to her own difficult history with Carly and Sunny. As Avery's mom pointed out to her gal pal, I don't need convincing that Carly is a piece of work. However, by whispering in Martin's ear about Drew and Carly's alleged insider trading, Nina left a trail of breadcrumbs which, Ava warned, inevitably would lead right to the doorstep of Sunny's current boo. And history, Ava said, has shown exactly what will happen next. I have learned the hard way that Sunny and Carly, they have their own history, reflected Ava, and part of that history is a blind and stubborn and even toxic loyalty. I'm not even talking about romance. The two of them could be at each other's throats, but if a threat comes for one of them, the other one will step in and defend them. Ava's undeniable conclusion: if the SEC goes after Carly and Sunny finds out that you were behind it, I don't see him backing you. At that moment, the reality of the situation hit Nina like a ton of bricks, because it wasn't only Sunny's ex-wife whom she turned in. There was yet another tie that bound them all together as one big messy family. I turned in Amelia and Wiley's grandmother, she whispered, the horrific truth dawning on her. What will happen if Willow finds out? She's depended on Carly so much through all of this. She'll never forgive me, Ava, will she? It was as if Nina, realizing she's simply a character in someone else's story, had flipped ahead a few chapters in order to discover her own fate. Viewers, meanwhile, were watching as Carly and Sunny, perhaps caught up in the magic of Michael and Willow's wedding, exchanged a look that would have filled Nina's veins with ice water had she seen it. With the SEC having questioned Carly and now in full pursuit of Drew, is it only a matter of time until Nina's pigeons come home to roost and send Sunny right back into the arms of his favorite ex-wife? Move over, Mikos. Sorry, Helena. It looks like the wickedest member of General Hospital's Cassadine clan was actually Victor all along. At long last, the episode airing on Thursday, April 13, revealed the patriarch's master plan, and it was more horrifying than ever we could have imagined. With a kidnapped Spencer and Albrecht serving as a literally captive audience, Victor at long last began laying out exactly what he intends to do and why. Ironically, it turns out that he is an environmentalist, although he's taken that righteous cause to an extreme. When I was younger, he began, I was horrified by the damage we were doing to the planet, our greed and short-sightedness, carelessly consuming the very resources we needed to survive. Left unchecked, there'll be nothing left for future generations. Truth be told, it's hard to argue with his logic, but we digress. As it turns out, the late Mikos shared the same views as his brother. So together we developed a technology to reverse mankind's mistakes, serving as a one-woman Greek chorus. Albrecht snarked, the device you used to control the climate. Do remind me how that turned out. For newer viewers who might not recall that long-ago adventure, the answer is not so hot, at least for the Cassadine clan. Their attempt to freeze the world, starting, of course, with Port Charles, eventually was thwarted, with Mikos and his brother Tummy dying, while Victor was sent to prison and later presumed dead. Nodding, Victor acknowledged that things could have gone better, as Mikos eventually revealed himself to be a mere opportunist, using our innovation for extortion. His greed was not only disgusting, it was our undoing. Albrecht was quick to give credit where it's due, adding, along with Luke and Laura. But this time Victor insisted things would be different, because he and Mikos had developed a second set of tools, which could be used if that whole freeze-the-world thing failed. That tool? A pathogen, and it could be found in a bunker, the location of which could be found by deciphering the coordinates engraved into the Ice Princess necklace. In case you haven't yet connected the dots, Victor's jaw-dropping plan is to ensure the future of the planet, and in particular the Cassadine clan, by releasing a pathogen that, as he explained, will reduce the population to manageable levels and allow the survivors to usher in a new age of man. Sure, a whole lot of people will have to die in order for Victor's plan to come to fruition, but as he almost casually declared, to bring about true change involves sacrifice. One thing Victor is not willing to sacrifice: his family. In fact, the reason he kidnapped Obrecht, aside from any lingering feelings he might have for the doctor, is that he expects her to develop a serum which will guarantee the survival of the Cassadines, or at least those he sees as worthy. Sorry, Valentin. As half of Port Charles, not to mention those on board the Haunted Star, work to foil Victor's plot, time is ticking, because if they fail, hundreds of thousands, if not millions, could die. Viewers may know that Heather is the murderer behind the hook, but there are still many who believe that Esme has been running around Port Charles, slashing her victims one by one, with Ryan demanding that Heather come clean, and Esme sitting in a hospital bed pregnant and claiming to have amnesia. Spencer wants nothing more than to get to the truth in order to take this killer off the streets for good. In the latest issue of Soap Opera Digest, Nicholas Chavez previews what's ahead for his character, as well as Spencer's fear of losing Trina forever. After a conversation with his grandmother, where Laura relays doubts that Esme couldn't be the killer, due to how far along she is in the pregnancy, Spencer plans to put his ex to the test to see if she's faking the amnesia. It's bad enough that Spencer knows his dad fathered Esme's baby, which adds to the horrible rift between him and Nicholas, but the idea that Esme isn't the hook, and the person is still out there, terrifies Spencer. All the people who have died are in some way connected to Trina, Chaves stated, and because Spencer loves Trina, he wants to do everything he can to protect her. So, upon entering her hospital room, he's dead set, pun intended, on figuring out if Esme is lying about her memory loss. Spencer begins to ask questions to determine if Esme has in fact lost her memory, but Chavez reiterated, "Of course, I don't think he thinks it's for real." But he wants to figure out a way to use what she is claiming to his advantage. Whether or not Spencer succeeds, well, you'll have to watch to find out, but one thing is for sure: now that he has Trina back in his life, there's no way Spencer wants to lose her again, forever, this time.